Hello students, in the previous introductory class, you are seen regarding the transformers as well as generators. Today, we will see the details of transformer. You are knowing that there are different types of transformers are available. Depending upon its phases, it is classified as single phase transformer as well as three phase transformers. First, we will see the single phase transformers. In that, first, we will see the concept of ideal transformer. What do you mean by ideal transformer? Usually, this ideal transformer is not exist in practice, but it is a imaginary concept which is required to analyze the actual practical transformer. So, what do you mean by ideal transformer, or what is the theory behind the ideal transformer? First one, it is not having any winding resistances, means the conductors whichever is used in this ideal transformers, it is not having any winding resistances, and it is not having any leakage fluxes, hence there is no leakage reactances, and it is not having any iron losses, means it's a lossless transformer. Whatever input you are giving, the same output you are going to get, but in practice, which is not available, but it is very important to analyze our practical transformers with the help of this concept. See, this is what the diagram of ideal transformer. As in the second figure, I have shown the phasor diagram. You can see the first figure where V1 is applied to the primary coil where N1 number of turns are present. When V1, usually the sinusoidal voltage, is applied to the primary side, current Im flows in the primary coil. Because of the current flowing in the coil, it produces the flux phi. Because of the phi, an EMF E1 is induced in the primary circuit, which is its direction is shown with the arrow mark. The same flux phi links with the secondary coil, which is having N2 number of turns, and there, because of this flux sinusoidally varying, which links with the N2 number of turns, so it induces an EMF E2 in the secondary coil, and its direction is shown as the arrow. And whatever the voltage you are going to get at the terminal of the secondary coil, that is V2, that is the secondary terminal voltage. So here there is no losses. We can consider that E2 is equal to V2 and V1 is equal to E1, because there is no voltage drop in between, because of there is no resistances as well as the reactances are exist. We can see the phasor diagram here. In this phasor diagram, you can see there is a voltage V1 which is we are going to apply. When we are going to apply the voltage V1, we are knowing that our primary coil is purely inductive. Because of that, current flows in the primary coil is lags by an angle of 90 degree. In inductive coil, we know that, or in inductive circuit or pure inductive circuit, current lags voltage by 90 degree. The same thing I have shown there. See, V1 is applied, which is in vertical direction. So Im is in exactly 90 degree in horizontal direction to the V1. So when Im flows, because of Im, flux phi is induced in the transformer or generated. See, that flux generated is because of the current Im. As your current Im is sinusoidally varies, flux also going to vary sinusoidally, but the direction of the flux is same as the direction of the current Im. Once this phi is produces, that phi links with the N1 turns and produces or induces EMF E1 in the primary circuit, where your E1 is shown exactly opposite to the V1 or 90 degree lag to the flux phi. So in the phasor diagram you can see the things very clearly. E1 is same as V1, but it is exactly opposite to the direction of the V1. At the same time, the flux is linked with the secondary coil, and that particular secondary coil induces an EMF E2. Depending upon the number of turns, if N2 is more, then voltage also more than the E2 or E1. So E2 is more than E1. We can show that same thing I have shown in the figure. You can see there. E2 is in the same direction of E1, but it is little bit bigger than the E1, and there is no inductance, so there is no reactance as well as resistance, so no drops. E2 is equal to V2. This is what the ideal transformers, but actually it is not exist. So we will see the EMF equation of this one. As I told you, your current is sinusoidally varies. Because of the sinusoidally varying current, it produces a flux. That flux is also sinusoidally varying. Sinusoidally varying flux phi is given by phi m sin omega t, where phi m is the maximum value of the flux. Means if you consider the one sine wave, where the peak reaches, now that value is taken as phi m, and which is changes according to the sine wave. So let us consider E1 is the induced EMF or instantaneously induced EMF in the primary side. According to Lenge's law, we know that it is opposes the very cause. So we know that induced EMF is equal to rate of change of flux into number of turns. The direction is opposite, that's why we are taken it as minus. So in the first coil, E1 is given by minus N1 into d phi by dt, or we can take that phi is nothing but phi m sin omega t. So differentiation of phi m sin omega t, we can write here minus omega n1 phi m cos omega t, because sin omega t becomes cos omega t. At the same time, omega is nothing but 2 phi f, so I have changed this equation to minus 2 phi f n1 phi m cos omega t. And finally, I can change cos omega t with the replacement of sin omega t minus 90. So we can consider 2 phi f n1 phi m is nothing but em1, or you can see the equations here. 2 phi f n1 phi m into sine means the whatever things before the sine, which is the uh, maximum value. If sine theta is equal to 1, which this gives the maximum value, so we can take it as em1 is equal to 2 phi f n1 phi m, or we will consider the RMS value, that is maximum value divided by root 2. We are going to get that is E1 is equal to 4.44 f n1 phi m. So this is what your EMF equation, and E1 is equal to V1 and E2 is equal to V2 in the case of ideal transformers. Coming to the voltage ratio, as I told you, depending upon the number of turns, your transformation ratio changes. Here, E2 by E1, induced EMF in the secondary by induced EMF in the primary, is equal to number of turns in secondary by number of turns in the primary, which is equal to K. Or we can write it as E2 by E1 is equal to V2 by V1 equal to N2 by N1 is equal to K. K is a transformation ratio. But we know that whatever power is applied or power is there at the input side, the same power will be there at the secondary side. So with the in ideal transformer there is no losses, so V1 I1 is equal to V2 I2. In the same way, if we are going, I2 by I1 is equal to V1 by V2, which is equal to 1 by K. Means we can tell that E2 by E1 is equal to V2 by V1 equal to N2 by N1 is same as I1 by I2 equal to K. Coming to the practical transformers. Fine. I think now you are comfortable with the ideal transformer, which is not having any iron losses. There is no winding resistance, no leakage reactance. Coming to the practical transformers, this is what the actual transformer, which is having iron losses, which is having winding resistances, as well as because of the magnetic leakage, it is giving rise to a leakage reactance. Let us see what is iron losses. See, iron losses is subjected to alternating flux. There occurs eddy current as well as hysteresis loss in it. Two losses togetherly known as iron losses or core losses. These iron losses are depends upon the supply of the frequency, maximum flux density in the core, volume of the core, many things. It may be noted that magnitude of iron losses are quite small in practical transformers. Fine. This is usually called as fixed losses or constant losses. Because of the alternating flux, these losses occurs. Even though transformers are loaded or not loaded, when transformer is on, this we need to supply the iron losses. So eddy current losses is because of the mainly thickness of the core whatever is used, and hysteresis losses are depending upon its magnetic property. To reduce the eddy current losses, we are going for the number of tampings and all that we can see in the later. See this figure, compare with your previous ideal transformers. You can see this one. Here in the primary coil I have shown R1 and X1. In the secondary coil I have shown R2 and X2. So that X1 and X2 I will tell you later. First you see this R1. R1 is the primary resistance and R2 is the secondary resistance. Why this resistance is considered? See, the winding consists of copper conductors. It immediately follows that both primary and secondary will have winding resistance. Primary resistance R1 and secondary resistance R2 act in series with the respective winding as shown in the previous figure. When current flows through the winding, there will be power loss as well as loss in the voltage due to the IR drops. This will affect the power factor and E1 will be less than V1 and V2 will be less than E2. See, in the previous ideal transformer cases, we are considered that E1 is equal to V1, V2 is equal to E2. But in this case, because of the I1 R1 drops as well as I2 R2 drops, V1 is greater than E1 as well as E2 is greater than V2. Because of this, power losses is also occurs. There is current flows and the resistance exists. There will be I square R losses. Coming to the next, leakage reactance. See here, the part of the flux get leakage with the there will be a leakage flux with the leakage flux from the total fluxes. Because of this leakage fluxes, which links with the primary and secondary coils, which give rise to one reactance. Because of this reactance, once again there will be drop as well as losses. That reactance is considered as X1 and X2, whichever I have shown in this figure. So compared to your ideal transformer, we are having here iron losses, we are having here winding resistances, and we are having here winding reactances because of the leakage flux.